Robinhood announcing a new suite of products for advanced traders. Joining us right now, first on CNBC from the first ever Hood Summit in Miami, is Robinhood co-founder and CEO Vlad Tenev. Vlad, it's great to see you this morning. I want to hear all about what the summit is about, but also want to talk about some of these new features that you've implemented in the product for advanced traders. It feels like a major shift from where you started and what you were doing. What's the impetus for this?
Well, first of all, the Hood Summit, it's the biggest event we've ever held for active traders. It's here in Miami, and we had 800 of our best customers joining us for the event. We announced some products. We had over 1.7 million people joining on live stream as well. And really, it's just to mark 2 years of progress from us becoming a great app for beginning investors all the way to an advanced platform that serves the needs of sophisticated active traders as well.
And so that's what I was going to ask in terms of just how you're thinking about the market for your product today versus the way I think maybe people thought about the product before.
Yeah, there's three things that we're focused on. The first thing is being the market leader in active trading, growing market share. We've done very well on mobile historically among younger people and folks that primarily trade and invest on mobile. But about half of the market is on desktop web, where you have more real estate on the screen. You can do more sophisticated things like have charts and data and the trading in the same interface. And so we weren't really a player in that space. But last night we announced a new platform, which we're calling Robinhood Legend, which is the first platform on desktop that we've built specifically for the needs of active traders. And the feedback was really positive. I mean, really, there hasn't been a great trading platform built with modern technology and with charts integrated until we announced Robinhood Legend. So we had 1,000 people sign up and get access to the product in the first 40 seconds after we opened up signups, which I thought was pretty amazing.
I want to ask you about two other trends that are taking place among retail investors and whether it's their markets you want to play in. One is we keep talking about the election, as you might imagine. There are folks who now want to bet on the election. You can technically actually do it right now, even in the U.S. Before you couldn't do it. Do you think that's a good development, a bad development? How do you think about the betting markets for political purposes?
Look, I think I'm very pro-markets, pro-free market, and I think that there's legitimate geopolitical risk to hedge, and investors should have access to all the tools at their disposal to hedge their risk appropriately. So, yeah, very much in favor of more access to markets and more clear information. I think that the great thing about these markets is people have money on the line as well. So you can kind of trust that they care much more about the result, and those results should be much more reliable in a sense than just simple polling.
So I don't know if you saw, but Stan Druckenmiller yesterday made a comment about another trade that he thinks may be indicative of where this presidential campaign could go, which is the crypto trade, the trade around Bitcoin. I'm curious about how you see crypto moving. Obviously, Bitcoin has moved higher, and whether you think that's a sign of former President Trump gaining a lead in this election, because there's a view that he may be more pro-crypto. At the same time, I think there's a sense that Vice President Harris may be more open to crypto than she used to be. I don't know if you see a massive distinction between the two.
Both candidates seem like they're in favor of the U.S. being a leader in the space, which I think is a welcome departure from the status quo. So it could have an effect. You know, the markets could be reacting to the political sphere, but also we're seeing broad-based optimism right now across multiple asset classes. I don't think it's just crypto. And, you know, markets shift up and down, the scenario can change very, very quickly. But right now, when we talk to our traders, many of whom are at this event, they're expressing a lot of optimism. You know, they believe the future is going to be better than the past. America is kind of at the intersection of all of these new trends and innovation. If you're looking at electric vehicles, artificial intelligence, there's a lot of potential there. And they
Right.
see America and the U.S. stock market as the best way to kind of capitalize on that.
I don't know if you saw the story or if you can add any intelligence to this. Politico reported that your chief legal officer, Dan Gallagher, has been floated as a possible pick for SEC chair if former President Trump were to become the president.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Dan has been a great team member. He's been continues to be amazing to work with, has been responsible in large part for us becoming such a great regulated player and up-leveling there. So, of course, we'd love for him to continue doing that. So I have mixed feelings myself about these reports and rumors. But also, you know, I appreciate that, you know, we need people that have extreme regulatory knowledge, but also care about innovation and America being a leader in financial services and cryptocurrency and all of these related enterprises.